All right, welcome back to the podcast, boys, and we're on episode 151. We're joined with Sarah today, so give an intro for yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah. I'm a high school senior, and today I'm with the podcast boys to talk about some important and fun high school topics.
Topics. Okay, so I guess we'll go into Q&A. Yeah, me and Justin have what you sent, the questions that you prepared for us. Okay, I guess I'll start with the question number one that you wrote. How would you describe your high school journey, and what are some valuable skills / things that you have learned?
Yeah, so, well, of course, when they say as you get older, high school gets better, you become more mature, you understand more things. So when I started high school, I felt like it's elementary school but bigger. So it was a little bit less mature, of course, but it's been fun overall. And I've been enjoying my time, and especially now that I'm older and I'm a senior, I'm looking forward to university and getting out of school. But at the same time, I'm sure I will miss some things. So it's been a good journey. I've definitely learned a lot of things, and those things include just how to be emotionally intelligent so I won't get hurt by things that I will look back and regret in the future. So I think that's really important for both girls, boys, and people of all genders, really. So emotional intelligence, and I've also been occupying myself a lot with different hobbies like nail art. I'm a self-taught nail artist.
Yeah, I saw you were posting about that, actually.
Yeah,
good topic to bring out.
I wanted to put some for today, but eventually we did not have the time. And yeah, I also have an art business on Instagram. Well, I've been inactive, but if I get active, it's going to pick up. So yeah, and I learned a lot of languages, and you will be surprised by how many people from around the world you will connect with.
Yeah.
Even if you know just a few words, you're basically a person with so many different minds.
Yeah.
So it's good to learn many skills from different areas.
How many languages do you speak?
So I speak my own native language, Farsi, of course, English, French. I'm 80% fluent, and I'm mostly working on my Italian. And just from songs, I can already know and speak a lot. So yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna go off of what you said with the nail art. Yeah. How did that become a thing for you? How did that become a passion, and then you try to pursue that?
Of course. So I love nails, of course. I think a lot of people like to be clean and see some cool designs on their hands. But the thing is, of course, this is a business that's really detailed, and you put a lot of time to it, so I understand the price. But then it wouldn't be so efficient for me if I would want to get exactly what I want for such a high price in a salon. It's not efficient, really. I think it would be kind of like miscellaneous spending. So if you want to have a more efficient way to spend your money, it would not be something that I would be able to include in my
day-to-day.
Yeah, day-to-day, of course. So I was like, I'm already an artist. I'm already really good at creating things. So why not go on YouTube and just learn how to do this? Really, YouTube, they have everything. I learned everything from YouTube. So when I have that at my disposal, why not use it? Yeah, so I got the supplies from Amazon, and I started working. And of course, it did not turn out like how I thought it would at the beginning, but I was learning. And after many trials and just making a lot of nails, it's become something that is so easy for me and so enjoyable. And I think all people should learn, because you will not only be creating something that is of your own, but you will be 100% satisfied, and not having spent $100 on a set of nails and get out of the salon, you know, unsatisfied because you were shy to ask your nail tech to change something.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to think to like acquire the skills to actually like learn to do the nails?
Okay, so it took a few months, of course. And as each time I do the nails, I learn something new, really, like how to do this method. Like, for example, like how to use the instruments to like create this part, or like, because there's like an E file, there's a this and there's a that. It's just not one thing. There's so many different materials and all that is put into that work. So it's not a work of like 30 minutes. It can take like hours, like 3 hours always. So yeah, really, at first it was really hard for me, but then I would say the third nails that I made, I was sure that I'm becoming a pro at this.
Yeah. And then in terms of clients, is it usually for like family and friends, or just like have you expanded out of that, or?
So actually, I've only made nails for a friend, one friend. Other than that, I only do it for myself because it's something, again, that I said takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's not a work of, again, like 1 hour. It's like 2 hours, 3 hours. And I want to create the best possible product that I can. So far, it's been just for me and one friend, but I'm sure if I have more time on my hands, I will want to create something for other friends as well.
Nice. Yeah, Justin's next.
Yeah.
I can do something for you for sure.
Yeah, get me next. Yeah, so my other question is, like, how much do you usually, are you charging for the nails yet, or is it just for?
No,
just for
it's
fun?
a generous, gesture.
Okay.
Yeah, I
see.
wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, the next question you wrote for us is, how's your high school social group, and what are some positive and negative things you've encountered in these friendships?
I've had a lot of different friend groups. I really sometimes wish that I had like the one friend group that you see on TV, just like girls and like a group of boys like always sticking together, and you do everything together, experience everything together. So I didn't have that really. I was kind of like scattered. I had like this one group, that one group. So even if I would want to get a birthday party or something, I would always think, okay, how am I going to make these people sit together in one table and all like feel comfortable with each other? You know what I mean? Yeah, so I've been friends with like both groups of girls and both groups of boys. And this year especially, I feel like it's been so much easier for me to find friends and make friends. Not only because I feel so much more comfortable with myself and confident, but I feel like the people are also returning the energy that I'm putting in. Because sometimes, I think really most of the time, you can be such a passionate person. You can put a lot of energy into something, but then the other people won't reciprocate it. So I want to be around the type of people that make me feel comfortable and not make me feel like I'm being extra for doing
well,
what
that's
I
crucial.
like doing.
Yeah.
So yeah. But my social groups have been really good. But okay, in terms of positive and negative, well, positive, I always learn a lot from people and I see around, and I don't only learn from my own friend groups, but I also see what other people do. And I know you shouldn't really trust rumors because, I would not want anyone to believe in things about me that are not true. But of course, again, you learn from those, and really the type of people that you want to be around with. But at the same time, the negative things I've learned. Okay, I feel like this is such a bad way to think, that sometimes negative things outweigh the positive things in life in general, in all areas. So I would say there are a lot of negative things that I've learned as well, but I always look at them in a positive way.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
My question for you is, like, because you're in senior year, do you think that everyone's like trying to be like nicer to each other? Like, Gary Vee was talking about this, but he said that it was like he had a book, and I think it was called The Last 6 Months, and basically it was just detailing how in the last 6 months of high school, all the cliques sort of vanish and everyone just becomes like closer, sort of as a grade. And
didn't that happen in High School Musical?
Yeah, even in
Yeah, I love High School Musical.
But I think just generally, like, he was saying that like all sort of like social groups just kind of fade out, and everyone just sort of like embraces each other like differently than how they usually would, because they know it's their last year with these people.
Yeah, makes sense.
Do you think like being in like senior year, you're done in a couple of months, do you think that like rings true?
Okay, I totally understand what you mean because I actually have a mini story for this.
And you've watched High School Musical.
Of course, I've watched them so many times. Troy and what was the girl's name? Troy.
I want to say, was it like not Vanessa? No.
No, that's the actual actress's name.
Yeah.
Gabriella.
Yeah, Gabriella.
Love those two, but yeah, okay.
Shout out them.
To be honest, I feel like, at least in my year, I feel like a lot of people aren't genuinely friends with each other. It's mostly you smile at the hallway, hey, how are you? That's the most you can get out of people. And I can't believe I've been at school with, like, the people in my year for 5 years, and some of them, I feel like it's very sad that the most encountering that we've had together is just, oh, hey, I finished this test. What was yours about? Yeah, so I feel like people don't really take it seriously in terms of, like, other people. Like, I mean, they don't really think that it's important. They only care about their own friend groups. So in my winter formal, everyone was friends that night because we were all having fun. It's a school sanctioned event. Everyone was friends. I talked to people that I hadn't talked to in years. And I'm not over exaggerating that, really. And we were all giving each other compliments. We were all dancing. We were all having fun. But the day after,
back to normal.
Back to normal. I don't know who you are.
That's
I've
tough.
never talked to you. So yeah, I really wish that there would be more spirit. And I think people would be more friends with each other if the numbers of students in each grade was lower. Because I've heard in a lot of other countries, they don't have 200 people per grade. It's usually like 60 people. So those people actually get to know each other deeply and not just an appearance.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I go to, my school's a smaller school. It's a private Catholic school, so it's a lot less people, like, per grade. And I'd say for the most part, like, our grade is, like, generally pretty close. Like, you wouldn't, like, I guess most people, like, know a little bit about, like, pretty much everyone in the grade. And at least, like, you've been, like, in the grades with them for that long, 4 or 5 years. So you end up kind of knowing everybody. So I think, it is. I think it does ring true that, like, smaller schools generally have, like, a closer, like, bond, as well as, like, even, like, you can see that in, like, sports teams and, like, team spirit. Like, whenever even for the soccer team, like, everyone comes out and supports. And even for the basketball team, like, the bleachers are always packed. And, like, the school spirit, I think, is a really big thing, especially when talking about smaller schools. So, yeah, I think that's
true.
pretty true.
Yeah, so I definitely really agree with that because if you don't really get to know the people, you will judge them quickly if you hear something negative about them. And I think it's really sad because those are also individuals. They have feelings too. They have a story. So I think it's so important to use every opportunity to get to know as many people as you can. But I think you should also set boundaries for yourself. Again, I was talking about how you put energy into a friendship. You want others to reciprocate. So if they don't do it, I think, you should focus and spend more time and invest on people that enjoy the energy you're giving them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Facts. Okay. Question 3, you wrote, what's the difference between friendships among boys and girls?
Okay.
Funny enough, Cheyenne doesn't think that boys and girls can be friends.
Okay. Can I have your reasoning, maybe?
Sure. Ultimately, it's like a really low percentage that's possible, but it's like if you're, for example, myself, if I find a girl who's decently attractive and has in common with me so much, like, I would be attracted to her, and she's the opposite gender, so that wouldn't be like a pure friendship connection anymore. So that's just what I believe. At that point, like, they say, like, your lifelong partner has to be your friend. So, like, in that sense, like, you can't be friend. You can't truly have the friends connection. You can, like, be in friend zone, or, like, it wouldn't be a healthy friendship if one of you is like into another. It might be different for girls, but that's just how it is for boys. And quite frankly, if anybody tells me that they have a girlfriend that they truly don't see as anything, I would say you're either lying or she's, like, really ugly.
That's I can't agree because that's literally what I have. Like, so I don't know. Maybe it's just you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, let's hear your take on it.
I have something really big to say about this. I can talk about this specific like topic for a really long time. Because okay, so girls and boys, I think I appreciate friendships among boys much more than how girls operate their own friendships because guys are so much more carefree. They don't have the friendship tests, like the invisible friendship tests that girls put for each other. You have to build trust. You have to, you know, it's basically an invisible obstacle course that you have to go through in order to earn each other's trust in girls' friendships. So, if you or the other person does something to hurt you, that friendship can be gone forever. This has happened to me, I know, even though I'm only a high school senior, but I haven't talked to some people from elementary school that this happened to. Like a friendship, like you're every day you're together, things are going good, and then one thing happens and then poof, like it's gone. But guys, so I have a brother and he's becoming a teenager. He's been in so many fights with his friends, really, from physical fights to verbal and all that, but they're still best friends and they support each other. So I think friendships amongst boys, they're so much more carefree and their expectations are so much lower and they support each other.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
I mean, that's true. Like, I've been in fights with people, like fist fight, verbal abuse, whatever. Still friends.
Still friends, yeah, but
I was laughing thinking about some times, actually.
Yeah.
maybe you should share one later. But yeah, really, I feel like that's also made me have a lot of high standards for friendships.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I can't easily invest a lot of time in a person. No, I'm a really social person. Like, I will tell you this, I'm a really passionate person and I always put a lot of energy out there and I want to, make other people feel good for being around me. But at the same time, I think that, it's so much harder to be friends with a girl where you both trust each other, feel comfortable, and there's no jealousy involved. Because jealousy is the number one factor that ruins friendships. Whether it be, about boys, it's boys. It's mostly boys. 50% of the time, girls are talking about boys. 40% of the time, it's gossip about other girls and their boyfriends, and the remaining 10% is just clothes and day-to-day stuff. But guys, I feel like I'm saying this from what I've seen from my guy friends and my own brother who's really like growing up and becoming a teenager. Guys never talk about girls, really. They mostly talk about like soccer, like FIFA, like what's up on PlayStation and all that. But girls 24/7, they're talking about this guy looked at me, that guy looked at me, this and that. I hate this girl, I hate that girl. So I always think that I'm getting tired of hearing the same things over and over again. I like to, talk about hobbies and like what's going on in your day-to-day life and not, negatively about other people. Yeah. So I think when I go into my guy friend groups, I can always, joke with them and like, do things that I can't do when I'm with girls. But of course, this year I've learned that not all girls are like that, and I found more people that are like me. So I really appreciate that I've, have been able to develop a different view of friendships with girls. And I'm really...
Guys talk about girls, though.
Yeah.
I know. Well, you guys are older, but I'm saying in terms of...
You don't talk about
like
it
young
with
teens?
you. I get, like, from your point of view, your boy friends want to talk about, like, games and soccer.
Yeah, but boys talk about girls with boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're talking about young teens?
Younger, yeah, from what I've seen. Yeah, I'm seeing
I agree with that.
him grow up. Because
your brother hasn't hit puberty yet.
He has.
How old is your brother?
He will be 13 this year. In October.
Yeah,
give it a
He's
year.
still quite young, though.
That is still quite young. Let me tell you. So, I'm really glad that I have a close relationship with my brother. So, I've always been supportive of him. I've built trust with him, and hopefully it goes that way.
Mm-hmm.
So he shows me like what his friends are doing, Snapchat
Okay.
stories and all that.
Mm-hmm.
100% of the time, the girls in his class are posting sad quotes. Like, okay, this is so funny, but I would like to say it. Like, you left me, but I was always there for you. I always supported you. But
Yeah.
yeah, but the guys, they're just FIFA, you know, like, let's go to, like, soccer today. Let's go to
Yeah.
this today. So I think that,
Fortnite.
yeah, it's a huge diversity among them.
Yeah.
But, again, I feel like boys are just more carefree and they have an easier time in their adolescence as they grow up than girls. Because girls, they set a lot of, again, high expectations, both in relationships and friendships, but guys just have more fun time. So usually girls get more emotionally hurt than guys.
What do you think about the suicide rates among men and women? Men are like a lot higher than women, like statistically. So like, yeah, what would you say about that?
So definitely, I would say that, okay, I know how I talked about the adolescence part,
Yeah.
but then as people become adults,
Yeah.
I think, well, I mean, I haven't really researched on this, so don't really take my word for it. This is like all opinions, but there's definitely more pressure on men than there is on women, on like in a workforce.
Yeah.
And especially men have been taught to be like the provider of the family, and there's always talk about financial situations. So I think that really puts a lot of pressure on men that they should work harder, they should provide more, and like they shouldn't get in debt. I think money is a really, really big thing on this.
Yeah.
But there's also toxic relationships at home that can definitely contribute to the suicide rates.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's equal. As much pressure as there is on women, there's the same on men.
I would say, like, to that point, I would just say, like, men are, like, less emotionally, like, available. Like, I think even from a young age, like, personally, like, you just kind of, like, suppress your emotions. And, like, I think I can only really talk about it with, like, literally only, like, my sister is probably the only person I can, like, talk to about that. Even, like, my very, very close friends, like, we don't really bring it up and sort of just, like, it's more focused on just, like, having a good time with that person and spending time with that person than, like, really opening up, like, emotionally. And where on the other hand, I find that, like, girls are more, like, emotionally available with each other and, like, they actually talk about that and, like, how they feel with each other, where guys just can't, like, you just sort of, like, spend time with them, you do something, you talk, but, like, I feel like unless you're very close to that person, it usually is not about your emotions. And
yeah, I like how girls are very open with their, like, selves as well, like, with other girls as well. I wish, like, guys did that more, but that's hard to expect guys to do that. Just by their nature, that's all. And so that's kind of a shame. But, like, having, like, friends that are girls are so much different than having friends that are guys. Like, it's like you can't, it's not on the same level. Like, it's not, like, it's a whole different world, you know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And you really do see the side of what you're talking about when you have close friends that are girls, because they kind of involve you in that in a way. So yeah.
I want to touch on the point where Cheyenne's original point where you said that men and women can't be friends. I'd say they can, because I think you can be attracted to someone without actually pursuing that, and I think part of that has to do with the person's values. So you could be friends with someone and you don't necessarily have to have the exact same values. Whereas me personally, if I was, like, dating someone or in a relationship with someone, I want them to share similar values to me, especially on, like, probably religion and just, like, overall, like, life, like how they view life and, like, sort of all those, I guess, like, aspects of life. Whereas someone who's my friend, they don't necessarily have to have the exact same values as me, but I can still enjoy their company, right?
So that's like, here's an example. Like, I have a friend that's a girl, and then she vapes. But if I want to have a relationship with somebody, I don't want them to be vaping, because I just think that's, like, gross, and that's not something I would want for a relationship. For friends, that's fine. right? Because it's a different playing field. So that's like,
Exactly.
it goes with your example.
And I think you just set like higher expectations, like especially for like, yeah, if you're in a relationship or like you're looking for that, like I think your expectations should be higher, but
Yeah,
in
of
a
course.
friendship it's not. I think it's not as strict in my
More
opinion.
loose.
Exactly.
Way more loose.
And I thought about there's different aspects to this question, like because like I understand that being friends with a girl as a boy is different world from being friends with a boy as a boy, but the thing is it touches on two different aspects. What the definition of friend is to the person, like me or you, might be a totally different definition on what a friend means.
Yeah.
Or in what comparison. If I'm comparing, for example, in a spider aspect, if I'm comparing it to like a guy friend of mine and a girl friend, is like I would never be, of course, attracted to a guy, because I'm not gay. But a girl, like you never know, because like it's in the nature, right? And you say like, yeah, you can be attracted and like have values, and that's true. But that's true, but that wouldn't really make it a healthy friendship, and that's where it comes from, like what you define as a friend. Like, I'm not gonna just hang out with a girl just for the sake of she's a girl if I don't have anything in common, or it's not fun hanging out. It's like, I'm not gonna go hang around with a guy just because he exists, or like, like
Well, that's
I hang
with any
out.
friend.
Yeah, that's with any friend. Like, the same way you're not gonna be friend with any guy, you're not gonna be friends with any girl. And girls are mostly least likely to, like, have common, like common things between them and a boy. So that's why it's least likely.
Well, it could still be a healthy friendship if you both know, and you have like a mutual thing, like, hey, we're friends. That's it. I don't think of you any more than friends. Then I don't see anything unhealthy with that.
Yeah, exactly. And then what do you count as a friend? Someone you hang out with, someone you go out with,
so
or
for me,
someone you just know or talk with?
For me, a friend is someone I spend a good amount of time with, somebody that I hang out with.
In school or outside of school?
It could be both, just in general. If I hang out with you and I like you as a person, I'm spending time with you, and I'm close with you, then yeah, like I would consider you a friend. But if you're just someone I say hi to in the hallways, or if I just see you out and about and say, oh hey, how's it going? Like I don't really see you as a friend because that's the only interactions that we will have. That's what is that word?
It's an acquaintance. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
But the difference lies is like, I would like I have girl like friends as in like friend is someone I would call that I'd spend time hanging out with outside of school time, because school is so general. You meet so many people, you might even hang out with them at lunch. If you don't hang out with someone or even text them or have a conversation outside of school time, like at least on a weekly basis, like that's not even a friendship. That's just someone you know, right? That's where the level lies for me. But again, the difference between even a girl you pursue, like even a girlfriend that you like hang out with outside of school, if you find them like physically or like even sexually attractive, even though like there's a boundary, it's like you will like it might be value difference, but if you're gonna be like pursuing them in a way that you're attracted, so like you're like, oh, well, if I have a chance to like date this person, I would, even though she's like your friend. I wouldn't call that a healthy friendship.
Well, yeah.
That's why I wouldn't count it as a friendship. I wouldn't go in the first place.
Well, yeah, because you said that's if you would be down to take it to the next level. But there, like, if there isn't a mutual agreement, so like let's say this girl says like, hey, I want to, I don't want to be friends with you. I want to have a relationship with you, and I said no, I don't feel the same. And then if they're still friends, so you're saying that's a unhealthy friendship?
Yeah, that would be unhealthy.
I mean, yeah,
like,
sure.
Yeah.
But if you both agree, we're friends. Like I don't see the problem with it.
Well, would it truly? Because you can't really control your feelings. If I'm like interested in a girlfriend, and then she was like, well, no, I'm like, it's just not gonna disappear into like thin air.
But
like I'll still have feelings, and it's just not gonna be like enjoyable being around her, knowing it's like
true.
there's a wall.
I guess that's up to the person, but like I can be like physically attracted to someone and then not have feelings.
Well, I guess that's the thing though. We're talking feelings as in physical attraction or even personality attraction. Like it's like the same thing. Like it's some sort of attraction. Because like we have a mutual friend that's like interested in a girl that has a boyfriend, and he's still friends with her and just does. It's not good. Like I wouldn't find that like healthy. You know what I'm talking about? Unhealthy to like be in a relationship that is not gonna go in a friendship that you're trying to pursue to a relationship, and it's not going anywhere. It's not healthy for you as a person, and you're and your mental stability.
As much as I respect you guys' opinions, I agree with bits of what you guys all said. So you said, Cheyenne over here said that it's important to be friends with the person that you want to be in a relationship. Colin here said what you expect of your friends is not the same as what you would expect with someone that you would be in a romantic relationship with. And Justin here, I think you
said that as well.
You said the same.
Agree,
Yeah. So it goes both ways. So really, so for example, the type of person I would want to, label as my boyfriend and the person I would want to be with, of course, values is the number one thing that would bring us together. Like, if he's a healthy person, if he's smart not in an academic way. Honestly, the more I grow up, I think labeling an academic person as smart is not actually a right term to describe them, because okay, we're living beings, so, and we're social creatures. Humans are social creatures. If a person is academically smart but they don't make the right decisions in life circumstances, then they're not smart as a whole. So you need to be both emotionally intelligent but also, again, academically smart, so you can have a successful life. Yeah, but okay, so I want them to be emotionally intelligent and have similar values to mine, but not super similar, so I could learn from them. So of course I would want to build trust and friendship before I could move on to the next step. But then again, I think that girls and boys can definitely be friends, because okay, of course we are type of animals. Sexual attraction is always going to be there. It's just like coded in our brains. Like we have no control over it. So if you think someone is hot, of course, that lasts for like 2 days. You're like, oh wow, they're so hot, they're so attractive. This is the person, this is the perfect image I've had in my mind, and their person, of course, you would be attracted to them. But then when you get to know them and they may not be who they thought they would be, if that personality doesn't match with that beautiful appearance, then again, that eye candy is going to taste bitter.
Okay. I agree with that. But again, I asked this question off camera, and I'll ask it again.
Yeah.
In that case, where the let's say the candy inside tastes bitter, okay, and came this option, let's say you rub fucking a magic whatever thing from like Aladdin. What was it?
The lamp.
Yeah, a magic lamp, and came out this genie that was like, choose a friend to like, you get to hook up with this friend, and that's like really attractive but has a shit personality, and the next day everything would go back to normal. No one would remember anything. Would you do it? You're saying you find this person very attractive, but they have a shit personality, right?
Yeah.
So you would in a case where it was in a relationship and you would get to hook up and just leave. You would more likely to do that if you find them attractive, right?
There's actually a little bit more to this. So, I think people set boundaries for themselves. So, for example, I'm a really reserved person. Okay, if you get to know me, I may seem like bubbly at first, but I'm a really reserved person, and I don't just invest in someone just because I think that they're attractive. I really want to deeply get to know the person and see if they're someone that match me and how I, portray myself and my own values. So definitely, if I think someone is hot, it doesn't mean that I have to go and do inappropriate things with them. And plus, I'm only a high school senior, so I like to be become more intelligent with age before I do, more things that would not be so accepted by society. And really, that's my own views. I'm not saying what other people choose to do. I have no say in that. But I only choose for myself, and you are the only person that can choose for yourself.
Dude, that's actually happened to me. And it turns out, like, there's, like, this one girl that I was thinking, like, the same thing as you were talking about. Turns out they're, like, crack addict that, like, went to the hospital a bunch of times, overdosing.
See, you don't want to
Bitter
be
candy.
investing in
But
a
then,
person
but when
like
on
that.
the outside, it looks like sweet candy, right? And on the inside, it's bitter.
I love the
The
metaphor
candy-
I
the
came
candy
with. I
metaphor,
love
yeah.
Good
that.
analogy, good
Okay,
analogy.
yeah, good analogy.
I want to sort of talk on Cheyenne's point when he said, like, let's say it's sort of one-sided, like someone has feelings for someone else, but it's not reciprocated. I actually agree with Cheyenne because then it's like very uncomfortable for
Yeah.
the other person because
Yeah.
someone wants to pursue something, the other person
It's
doesn't,
awkward.
and then it's like, what should you do? So I think like there's not really a right answer there because it's like
No.
if
Yeah.
you cut the relationship off, like that's kind of like messed up, but it also makes sense because it's like Cheyenne said, someone's not gonna like get rid of those feelings overnight, right? Like that just
Yep.
doesn't happen.
Right.
Yep.
And you can still be attracted to that person, but like nothing's gonna happen there also, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then also it's like I don't know, it's almost insincere if you keep a friendship with that person because the other person it feels completely different, right? And the other
Yeah.
person still wants something.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know, what do you guys think about that? Like
Well, I mean, I agree with you, and I also agree with Sarah. I think that's like my final.
Yeah.
so what should you do in that situation, do you say?
Yeah, okay. I actually
Well, don't force it. If they
yeah,
don't want
don't
it,
force it.
Yeah.
Exactly, no, exactly.
Like, you
but
keeping
friends with that
them or
person.
no?
Yeah, that's
I think okay.
all up to you.
If they're a friend that I value their friendship, if there's someone that I really enjoy being around and they're a friend that again I would want to keep in my life, especially now that I'm a high school senior, I've thought through who I want to keep in my life and which connections I should cut. So yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot. So let's say if I'm in a situation where, okay, should we say it from a point of view that I'm the one that's attracted to them or they're the one?
Up to you.
That's
It doesn't matter. Up to you.
okay. If I'm the one that's attracted to my friend, okay, this has to happen if I'm really close with the person so I know who they are, what their personality is. Because again, I know I'm only speaking for myself. Like, I really put value, I mean, oh my God, personality over looks. I really, really, really put that. But if they have the looks that I'm looking for, then
So
that's
be
like
it.
the cherry on top. That's
Yeah.
the sweetest thing. But yeah, if they're a person that have made me feel good to be around them, again, this whole energy that we talk about, and if I'm attracted to them, it's because I'm attracted to that.
Yeah.
So maybe this whole attraction is just me being, asking for that positive feeling. It doesn't have to be like a sexual attraction, really. But if it's like that, and then, and if it's like really messing up with my mind and it's occupying my day-to-day thinking, I would, be open with my feelings because
Yeah.
I'm a type of person that I've tried to teach myself to always be expressive, but in the right time, of course, not when it's in an appropriate time.
Well, that would be inappropriate depending.
Yeah.
No, you know what
I do know. That's why I said that.
Okay. Yeah, so I always tell myself, life is so short to keep my feelings in myself. Plus, I would learn something if I, put my feelings out there and like get a negative response. Always use it as a learning opportunity, even though it may hurt you. I think, humans are very adaptable. One rejection is not going to ruin your life and who you are as a person.
That's facts.
So yeah, even if they wouldn't want something more than friends with me, I still value that friendship
Yeah.
more than I would value the relationship that
Yeah, I
we
get it.
couldn't have. Because you break up with a best friend if you guys are dating. That situation may make that friendship go away, and I wouldn't want that. Would you like a lifelong companion as like a friend that, you can experience a lot of things with, or someone that like you're dating and like everything like literally crumbles even though you had a good friendship with them?
Gonna have a touch on this. So, well, this topic is nothing new, of course, been there for centuries. And I think there's this gray middle part where it's a term called friends with benefits, right? What are you guys' thoughts on that? Like wouldn't that resolve the issue generally? Like,
Well,
considering the people.
I don't think.
Not for you. I mean, I guess for you guys.
Well,
but-
I don't think that's a good thing. Friends with benefits. Like, if you want to do that, go for it. But I just don't think it's a good thing in society because it's a very lustful way of living your life.
Yeah. Okay, honestly, I think when you're a teenager, that type of toxic and inappropriate relationship should not cross your mind. Really, that's what I think. You should have, more dignity for yourself. Like, have a little bit.
I just brought it up.
Have a little bit, have a little bit more
Shots
respect.
fired.
Like, this is
Shots
how I
fired.
look at it.
The camera. Look at the cameras now.
This is how I look at
Have
it.
more
I'm
respect.
speaking for myself. What other people do, it's, if they enjoy that, if they do whatever they want to do, it's their own choice.
It's your world. You can do what you
It's your
want.
world. You can do whatever you want. But now that we are talking about it here in my presence, I think, if you're like 17 years old, 18 years old, you're basically kind of the experiences you've had are insignificant in comparison to like your parents who
Yeah.
would be in their 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
So of course, really, maturity comes along the way, and the people you will meet, because like we've only been in high school environment, and maybe like you guys may do like football clubs, like sports and all
Yeah.
that. That's your social circle.
Yeah.
You still don't know whom you may meet in
Yeah.
university, the
Yeah.
connections you may build.
Yeah.
So, I think there are many more valuable and positive friendships and relationships you can build than what has been labeled as friends with benefits. And I
Yeah.
think, people, especially young people, have been really drawn to it because of media.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Well,
sorry,
you
I'm
gotta
gonna...
understand
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
concept, though. Like,
I don't want to understand the concept, really, until...
generally, I'm not,
Yeah.
not defending my own self, just defending the argument. It's just friends with benefits is just like basically the whole point that I don't know, you don't want a relationship, or you just don't find having a relationship with the specific person like the right thing, but you do find them like sexually or physically attractive, and let's say it's vice versa, both of you. So like at that point, like you just want to keep like that's kind of weird saying keep being friends and have sex, but like as in it's just like you want to resolve that tension, but you want to also move on and not make a mistake that you know it's gonna happen. So wouldn't that in that scenario, in that case, be the
Okay.
right choice?
I don't think I would ever put myself in a situation where it would lead to,
That.
the establishment of such a
Well,
relationship. I would not put myself in that. It is a choice.
No, 'cause
I
you
believe
could stop it before.
you can
that.
stop it, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, you choose who you interact with. Like, I
Yeah.
chose to be, and I asked you guys, like, can I be on the podcast, boys? And I'm choosing to spending my time with you guys.
Mhm.
I could have just, like, said, no, I don't want to be here. So you basically really choose everything you do. And I
This goes back
believe,
to
you
last
know.
ownership with ownership and
ownership, I
responsibility.
watched that.
Yeah.
Read books. I
Yeah.
really like that. We should
Yeah.
get to that a bit later. But yeah, I think, I would not put myself in that situation ever. But so I really don't have such a view
Yeah.
on this, so I could not really speak if I have not
Yeah.
had such an experience.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, my point on it is I think that like you still have, like we said, ownership over where you take the relationship,
Mhm.
and I think doing that is just sort of like you're resolving the issue like momentarily, and you're not actually getting down to the root of the problem. I think by doing that,
What
The-
could the root of the problem be?
I think the root, like the genuine connection you have with that person, and like that weird tension, so you try to resolve it with a quick, like instant gratification way of doing that. I think just I wouldn't me personally. I think I'd just either end the relationship or just stop. Like I wouldn't put myself in that situation because I think
Oh.
it's insensitive to both people, because I think like that experience, having that with someone, is only like, I don't know, it's only positive when you like have a genuine connection to that person, and having like, I don't know, I just think it's like insensitive.
That would also go
to
on
both
the,
parties.
on person's individual's view on sex generally. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I think I've had this topic with Colin. If you guys don't want to go into it, it's fine. But like generally, he like sees it as it's like something that he just wants to have with like someone special, or I don't know. Like you can go deeper into that. It's just like he doesn't see it as a necessity in any way, and he cares about how it happens in the moment.
That's fact.
I'm kind of the same thing, but it's not much of a significant matter for me.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I might be less like connected with that thing than you guys.
Yeah.
So again, like I feel like there's so many different aspects to this single like
Yeah.
topic
Mhm.
that we could choose to go
Yeah.
in, but I don't think it's the time
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we have other topics to go by.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
guys want to move on.
Again, I really think, when you get old, when you grow older, and not just like an old, like grandparents and all that, when you grow older in your life, I think you want to benefit from relationships that teach you something. And you don't want to, because you know yourself, you know what you like. So it's important to, see some diversity in people's like stories and all that. So Facts. I think if you want a lifelong companion or just someone for long term, then it should be something that is like based on emotional connection and like not just physical from the beginning, because that's, again, those are two different relationships. People that get together only because of physical attraction and people that try to build their way to, whatever point that they're satisfied with. So yeah.
Okay. That was a good topic. Well, this ties with what we're talking about. Do you think teenagers are mature enough for a genuine relationship? Are they pressured into it?
I think they're definitely, most of the time, pressured into it. Because, okay, so I would, of course, like to have something with someone, but I feel like what I'm looking for, again, is a bit more high standard, because like I talked about how, friendships with girls and boys have like made me have high standards in just like all relationships I have with people. So I think that, what I'm looking for maybe cannot be found in high school, because it's just high school. I have like all of university in front of me, all of like,
get that.
Workplace and like all that. So I think, most people are pressured into having a relationship with someone in high school, not only because like what they see on media and like the whole idea of a high school sweetheart and like the whole like, young love. But again, there are definitely people that are capable of it. It's just, if it wants to be a genuine young love or like relationship, then both parties should, again, like be mature enough for each other and not try to abuse one another, or like, it should be genuine and not something that would hurt you in the future and crush you. So I think, again, emotional intelligence really plays a big part in whether or not you are ready to be exclusive with someone in a young age.
I want to touch on that because I think that, like, I agree with you, and I think that a lot of people are, like, pressured into that because, again, your social circle while you're a teen is, like, still quite small. Like, you know the people in your area, sort of where you live, and that's pretty much it. Like, the people at your school, team, like, sports teams, extracurriculars, and then that's, like, generally, like, sort of I would say your circle. But I think you haven't really met that many people and experienced, like, what those different relationships could be. And so I feel like it's hard to find someone with the same values as you because you really have not met that many people to actually determine, hey, this person meets my standards, like this person, their values align with me. And I think that because there's so much pressure, people just jump into a relationship with someone who they don't necessarily see themselves with and are just there for like the short term rather than, like you said, like long-term relationships and actually like genuinely building that connection. So I think there is a big aspect of pressure put on teenagers to have that relationship and to experience those things, but I feel like necessarily it's not really the right way to go about it because so many people aren't ready.
High School Musical wasn't so good after all.
I feel like nowadays they're making everything sexual, even though like it's spicy, it's cool, like you want to sit in front of TV and like watch something a little. Of course, like it's even in books and like movies, even books. Like I have a book page. And, like, I read a lot of books, like, mostly romance. And, of course, it's, like...
One of my friends tried to get me to read, like, gay romance. I'm like, I'm not reading that, dude. I'm not
Just reading. Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah, exactly. Captain Underpants.
I had tears in my eyes reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Wrecking Ball. I actually laugh. So much. I have tears in my eyes every time I read it.
Oh, I thought you were crying. I thought you were, like, upset.
Tears from laughter. Wow. No, tears from laughter. No, but yeah, I think, okay, let me tell you this. I actually researched and, like, I read this article. The concept of being a teenager was made in the last, like, 50 years. Did you know that? Because, back then, children, they had to work from the age of, like, 3 or 5 or around that age. And okay, let me tell you, and most families would be established with teen parents, really.
Yeah.
And people would usually die around the age of 30. So
Yeah.
I think people were really not pressured, but like that's how it was to provide for yourself from a young age. So now we're living in a time with technology, with
Medicine.
with medicine. So we're healthier, especially where we live. So I think we should be really thankful for the things we have, because we're the minority. Not everyone in this world is privileged.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
majority of this world
It's
is
facts.
living in conditions that we cannot imagine.
Yeah.
So we should really be thankful for what we
No,
have.
yeah, I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, so being a teenager is now seen as young adolescent people, being free, parents taking care of us going to school, having friends.
Yeah.
But back then,
It wasn't like that.
there would be mothers at the age of 13,
Yeah.
fathers at the age of 15, each
Mhm.
with 3 kids, working to get money. So, of course, we live in a time where young people are young people.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
More young in today's standards.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the last question here.
Mm-hmm.
What are some ways teens can be successful and build their characters positively for the future?
Okay. I definitely have a lot to say in this, but I'm going to talk about the things that really brought me forward in my 5 years of high school, which passed. I wasn't great at yesterday. But yeah, okay.
Clip that.
But okay, high school, not just academic. High school is a place for you to really determine the type of person you're going to become. Because elementary school, like I always say, at least here where we live, everything is so much easier, the whole curriculum. In other countries, like I used to have finals exams in grade 5. Really, with like provincial exams, and like I was like the second person to score in the sciences provincial exams. Yeah, really. Here it's like elementary school is 7 years of kindergarten.
Yeah.
But then when you go to high school, like things pick up. Like you see so much more people.
Yeah.
You're not surrounded by children, like young children anymore. You're with people that are there to go to the step that determines their future. Like for me, like I'm going to be studying in university next year. So of course, if I let loose and, went a little bit like wild and didn't do what I'm supposed to do, like my duty as a high school student, as a teenager, is to, figure out myself, but in a good way.
Yeah.
So I can, become someone positive for the world. Because, again, like I always tell myself, I don't want to be a person that lives. I want to be contributing to a big change. So, yeah, I think, you should build your character and choose people that positively add to it. So surrounding yourself with good people is the number one thing that is going to really help you become a good person. Because no matter how much innocent, not really innocent, I wouldn't say that, but no matter how much of a good person you are and always like surrounded by kindness, one wrong choice to, be with the type of people that aren't necessarily what is justified as good, the type of good people, then again, you can be easily influenced by them unless you are emotionally intelligent and you know when to set boundaries for yourself. So I really think it's important to control yourself. But at the same time, other things that you should do to become a good person overall, when you go to a room, you want to be a special person. You don't just want to be the person in the corner, unless, that is just how you are. But really, learn languages. You, again, like I said in the beginning, you will be impressed with how many doors in your brains will open when you learn new languages. Start easy with songs, children's books, just like YouTube, like Instagram posts. You will learn, really. And languages is not one. And again, skills, like for example, like I do nails, maybe like you would like woodwork or like anything. Like craftsmanship is really important to learn. And learn communication skills by like having a good job, especially like, I feel like for teenagers being like a sales assistant or something that has a lot of connections with people is really good, so you can see, you know, you won't just be the buyer, you will also experience the skills that they've built. But again, I think reading, you guys mentioned it, I think, in your last video. I think reading is really, really important because being, again, intelligent in terms of literature, it just shows, what type of person you are. Yeah, so I think reading books is also really important, whether it be like nonfiction or fiction. It's going to add to your, being professional in writing and speaking. It's like when I started reading, I've been reading since a really young age, but then again, I picked up a lot since last year. And like I've been not only been able to connect with people and talk about books and their stories, but also the way I write in like English class or socials class, and the way I can like understand material is so much better, and I can like learn much more from them. Yeah. So I think, just being a person that not only like, positively contributing to yourself, but also sharing all the skills you've learned and the good things with other people so you can influence them in a good way.
I think another like important thing to focus on is like mental health, because I think a lot of the time people are focused on physical, obviously learning, but I think mental health is like one of those really big things nowadays as well.
Definitely.
And so even just doing little things for yourself, like recently this is sort of like a new thing that I started doing, but like meditating, I've been trying it out. I do like 5-minute like guided meditation. It's really hard, but I think like keeping yourself aware and sort of like in the present moment is like super.
You go
I can't say I do, but I think it's a really like valuable skill because you're sort of like aware of your presence, and like even like if I'm going on my phone, sometimes I'll just like think twice, like okay, maybe I should be like studying, or maybe I should be doing something else, And so I think having that sort of like mindset when you're like doing an activity or just doing anything in your day-to-day life is like very important. So I think that's one like small thing you can do. But yeah, again, just like small skills, like even picking up a hobby or something that you're like passionate about. Like for me and Colin, that could be the podcast. For you, that could be your nails.
Definitely.
Even a business, or just like being driven towards something, I think is really important. Having something to work towards. I think that's a very like valuable skill because you learn hard work. You learn how to persevere even when things get tough. And so I think that's another really important thing. And lastly, I'll say like your physical, we talked about this before, but even like your hygiene, I just say going to the gym, your physical, like your body and getting all that right, I think is important too. And then doing all these things while also like maintaining a balance in your life, it can be difficult. Like I find I struggle with that as well sometimes, but being able to have fun and like surround yourself with people that you want, I think that is a really good way to build your teenage years successful. And I think that's sort of the way that I'd go about it.
Yeah, again, try to be a multi-dimensional person rather than a one-dimensional person.
Yeah.
Again, whether it be just like taking care of yourself, like mentally or physically, or just adding to your skills, you will live a more fulfilled life if you try to learn more about the world around you and not be so negligent about it, because this world, we are infinitely small.
Yeah.
So even if you try to make a statement and become significant and just be a person that is not negligent, I think it's a really good way to live a fulfilled life and learn a lot of things.
Nice. Okay. One question I had. So like, you said you speak like 3 languages, almost 4. What was the first one? I'm guessing Farsi.
Farsi, yeah.
And then when did you learn English?
English. So my mom, she taught me English.
Okay.
When I was in grade 1, she started to teach me with books from the Oxford University. They made books for kids to learn English. Yeah, so we would listen to the CDs and she specifically chose American pronunciation. So otherwise, if I had learned British English, I would be talking with a British accent. Yeah, she said, the universal English, yeah. So she started teaching me, and I was from such a young age so passionate about learning languages that whenever our lesson would be over, I would always be on YouTube and watching videos in English and even try to imitate them. So when I came here and when I went to the US the very first time before coming to Canada, I had no problem communicating. And then French. So I started learning at school, but again, I wanted to, yeah. It took off. I wanted to learn the way that I could actually communicate with French people. So Instagram and YouTube. I learned everything on YouTube.
Say, I like the podcast boys in French.
J'adore le podcast boys. C'est Colin, c'est Justin, et moi c'est Sarah.
There you go. Okay. So how long did you live in Iran for?
Okay, I left when I was 5 years old, and then I went to this small country of Azerbaijan between Iran and Russia.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful country.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. It's basically, they call it Paris of the East. Yeah, it was really such a beautiful country. I lived there. It's very safe. Very, very safe. Yeah. I think, you should go there. If you want to have a good experience in the East, that's definitely the place to go. I lived there for 6 years because my dad's family, they're Iran Turks, Iran Azeris. So we went there, and that's basically my dad's second language. So I lived there, but I still went to Farsi speaking school. So that's how I know how to type in Farsi. Okay. Yeah. So
and write
okay, yeah.
That's cool. So being Iranian, what are your thoughts on the current situation with the country? How does that?
I don't really want to get too much into it because it's all political matters. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah, I get it.
So the political issues create sociological issues.
Yeah.
So of course, I think I don't really have enough knowledge and research to talk about this, but I think all people just want their own freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think
that's the main goal.
That's the main goal.
Yeah,
but Iranian people are really kind people.
Mm-hmm.
We are some of the funniest people on the internet. If you see a meme or just any post regarding anything or even a celebrity, there won't be a time where you won't find a single Persian comment. And it's always the funniest thing ever. And if they're under a meme, the comments are funnier than the meme itself. Yeah. So I think, Iranian people are really open and funny and nice.
Mm-hmm.
Their sense of humor is so much harder to get into. Now, I can't say that for me. I will laugh at anything.
I know.
But generally there has been many comedians coming out, especially Persian comedians, saying
Maz Jobrani.
Yeah, Maz Jobrani, for example. Max Amini also said in an interview where he was when I have a Persian audience and I'm doing he does both language. He does two. He has multiple comedian shows, and he does English and Farsi. And when he says when I do Farsi, I have a very hard time writing my script and my jokes, because it is so much harder to make Iranians laugh and with a sense of humor.
Why is that?
But when I don't even know why, but
I've never heard that. That's interesting.
And then he said, but when I'm going for an English audience mainly, it's I could be lighter and I will get even more laughs than anything. So
actually, I think because English, I think any person that speaks English as their second language will agree with me on this. English is such a carefree language. Swear words are funny. You can use them in any circumstance, and not for it, and you won't have it be viewed as something that would make you a low-class person. But any other language is, swear words are swear words. They have terrible meanings. They have terrible meanings, and really, if you swear in different languages, you will be an actual low-class person. You will be a low-class person. So really, I think this is what I like about English, because I can swear or say anything as openly as I want and not feel bad about it or seem as a person without dignity.
Yeah.
And I think in English there's no mannerism. Because in any other language, like in
Less.
Farsi, like there's a difference between you and addressing someone as you in a formal way.
Yeah.
And it's even the same in French, like tu,
That's with so many
vous.
languages.
In Farsi, tu, shoma. Yeah, like really, we have so much mannerisms, but in English, like it's such a carefree language, and I
Very
really
broader.
like that. You
Yeah,
can
I
be
get it.
formal when you want, but then also informal.
Language though, so it makes sense for it to be that way.
Because it's the universal language of the world, of course. But I think, learning languages is a big part of my life.
Well, English, I would say, and this is not factual by any means, just what the conclusion that I have, is that English is the language that has been spread without changing in anything. It was just expanded really wide. Because if you take other languages, for example, like I'm not sure with the history, I don't want to like offend our viewers that are like speaking these languages, but like for example, Spanish and Portuguese is like very close language.
I can tell you that actually, because these are Romance languages. So I speak French, and like I basically, like I told you, 80% fluent. It's become really easy for me to learn Italian.
Yeah.
And then Spanish, I can understand. Like, so, I can definitely see if people are gossiping or not. Yeah, definitely. Like, those are in the same language family. But then again, like, even though they're in the same language family, they're like, the vocabulary is like 95% identical.
It's funny. Yeah, like.
Arabic and Farsi or like
Yeah, and I could see how you could use that. Like, my mom was telling me she was in like a lineup for something, and someone was in front of her speaking Spanish, and she's like, people here can understand you, and she's like, oh, my bad. It really does happen.
Yeah,
so.
like especially like Spanish and Italian, you can do that because like a lot of things are the same, but I don't think in French you can do that. Yeah. In French, you can see written French and understand, but not spoken French. Yeah, because they're, again, in the same language family. Yeah.
What would you say, like, your tips are for learning a new language?
Learning a language?
Yeah.
Listen to songs. Songs are my number one go-to because, okay.
Wait, so does that mean you know how to speak Hindi if you're listening to Bollywood?
Actually, the thing is, I sometimes don't need subtitles for Hindi movies. Really,
do you watch it that much?
I do, actually. I think Bollywood should be more. No, I was a Bollywood fan way before I met him. Yeah, and I think because it's so fascinating because me and my mom. So, for example, we're like watching a really popular Indian movie, and like we don't need subtitles sometimes because like they use the words we use daily, and their definitions and all that. So like. In one sentence, there's like 5 Farsi words. So I think it's really cool that it's like that. But then again, Farsi is a language that is like similar to so many languages. Like there's like similar like words and like grammars to French, Spanish, Italian, Turkish, Arabic. Arabic not so much really. It's mostly our scientific words because when Iran had their like war with the Arabian colonies in history, it was the time of like science and mathematical findings. So our literature in terms of like sciences and mathematics, they're mostly like in Arabic, but then our language was preserved by our literary, traditions and like historians and all that. We have a lot of famous poets, and their poems are used in English and translated in them. Yeah, but it's if you so these were tips for learning a language. Definitely listen to songs. Songs are a really good way to start because they're also in a colloquial version of that language, so you won't be just learning a formal way because like I said, there's mannerisms in different languages, so it would be so weird if you address your friends how you would address someone you don't know. So
hello, good evening, my name or like, yo, what's up, how's it going?
Yo, what's up? Yeah, see, you want to be more carefree with your friends, so definitely start with songs. Follow influencers on Instagram or just pages that teach you the standard version of that language on Instagram. Those really, really, really helped me. So I really am, thankful that I have that opportunity to learn free.
Yeah.
Do
you have any like pages in like specific that you know?
Specific, yes. For French,
Shout out.
there's these two French guys, the Frenchies. I don't know, but they're really funny, and they actually teach you French in a fun way. They make scenarios, and then you will learn how to if you were in that situation, what type of language you would use.
Yeah. I've been doing this year I did like Duolingo, so I have like a 70-day streak on Duolingo. But Duolingo, like, it's kind of interesting. So I've done French since I was a kid, and I know how to like write French, and like I know to speak like I'd say like basic French. But Duolingo, I think, is very like repetitive, and I don't know, it's a lot of like you just sort of like pick words.
Yeah.
It's a lot like written as well.
I would not suggest Duolingo.
Yeah.
If you actually want to learn a language, like Duolingo is if you're the tourist that knows only 2 words of the language. But if you actually like want to like it's a good start point.
Yeah.
But if you want to be able to communicate with the people,
Stay outside the library.
Duolingo. No, if you actually want to, become part of those people and understand their way of thinking, definitely go to Instagram and listen to songs.
Yeah.
Instagram, there's like I can actually suggest you some pages if you're like so into it.
Yeah. All right.
I will, yeah.
There you go.
And
Okay.
okay, on YouTube for French, French Mornings. French Mornings is also really good, and I learned a lot from her. Yeah. Shout outs,
Okay. Yeah, shout
Yeah.
outs. Okay.
But those are my tips.
All right, is that all? Because I don't have any more topics or questions.
Oh, we went through a lot.
Yeah.
All done? Okay. Well, thank you for coming.
Of course.
Thanks for being on. It was a good episode.
Thank you.
Check out the description for our other stuff that we have, merch, and then audios. And we'll see you guys next week. See ya.